I'm in my container host. So previously we created this image called my batch app. So as of now, this image is in my local lab machine. So if you want to share with other parties, you can either publish into a repository like Docker Hub. So Docker Hub allows you to keep public repositories. The paid version allows you to have private repositories. Another place that you can publish this image is Amazon Elastic Container Registry, or Amazon ECR. So Amazon ECR is integrated well with all other AWS services like Identity and Access Management Service. So you can easily manage the permission, saying like, for example, hey, this image is available for production only. So let's see how we can publish an image into Amazon ECR. I'm in my AWS console. So there are multiple ways that you can go to Elastic Container Registry. You can either search from the search box, or under compute, you can select Elastic Container Service. So once you go to Elastic Container Service, under repositories, you have Amazon ECR, or Elastic Container Registry. So if you have some registries, it will show here. As of now, I don't have, so I create one. As the first one, let's create a repository with the name Hello World. So click next. You only need to provide the repository name, and it then gives you all the commands that you can execute to publish an image into this repository. These are all basic Docker commands. The only one different is the login command. So let's go to the repositories. So if you go to the repositories, as of now, you have one called Hello World. Let's create another one to keep my batch application. Let's name this one my batch app, and then click next to create the repository. Like before, it gives you the command that you can use to publish an image. If you go to the repositories, you will now find two repositories. So go to my batch app, and if you go here, you will find that there's a button called view push commands. So this view push commands gives you the same command that you got when you create this repository, and it gives you the set of steps that you need to publish an image. So the first step is to log in into the repository. So let's copy this the login command, which uses AWS CLI to log in into ECR. So if you type enter, what will happen is it will give you an error saying AWS is not recognized as an internal external command. This may not happen in your lab machine if AWS CLI is installed. But in this lab machine, I haven't installed, in the machine that I'm using, I haven't installed AWS CLI. So I'm going to download it and install. If you use an Amazon machine provided image that we provided to execute this lab, this tool command line interface may already be installed on your machine, and you may not get this error. So imagine that you use a base Windows container image that we have published. So you may need to install this tool. So for the moment, this is how you install it. It's just a bunch of click next, 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 and it will install AWS CLI. As I said before, in your lab machine, you may not get this error because this tool is already installed. Another handy tool is AWS PowerShell tools. This tool also is usually installed in your lab machine, but in my lab machine, it is not installed, so I'm installing that tool also. That installation is also very simple. You just click run and then click next, 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 and it will install PowerShell commandlets that you can use to invoke AWS services using PowerShell. Installation is complete. Let's go back to our command line and then type AWS and then type version. If this gives the version number, it means that AWS CLI is properly installed in this machine. So in your machine, it may be already installed, so you may not need to install it from the scratch. So let's try to execute that login command again on this machine to see whether we can successfully log in. So to do that, again, go into Amazon Elastic Container Service from AWS console. Select the repository that you created, in this case my batch app, vu push command, and then you can copy that login command. And then try to paste it and then press enter. It will give an error again. So in your lab machine, you may not get this error, but I purposely create this error to showcase you what will happen if you don't have the permission to get the token to login. The reason why you got this error is that the login user here, or the machine that is running this IAM role, does not have permission to get the STS token or secure token service token. The reason for this is we don't have enough permission. So let's see how we can grant this lab machine a permission that is required to publish an image. In your lab machine, you may not need to do that because you may already have this permission attached. So if you don't have that, this is how you should do that. So select your lab machine. In this case, it's Amazon EC2 instance that you are running. In this case, I have named it as container host. And if you expand under IAM role, the role we started this is called my container host role. So select that my container host role and verify that it has enough permissions to invoke Amazon ECR commands. So if you can either select from there directly, or you can go into IAM, or Identity and Access Management section of AWS console, and select roles. And from there you can select the same my container host role. So either way, you can verify what permissions are attached into this role. As of now, in the one that I have, I don't have any permissions attached. So I'm going to attach a policy. I can create a policy by myself and attach a very fine-grained policy. But to make your life easy, I'm going to use a manage policy that AWS has created. So if you search ECR, you will find a manage policy. If you search container, you can find that Amazon Elastic Container Registry full access. And if you attach that policy, this will have enough permission to get the token and also to publish or to read from Amazon ECR or Amazon Elastic Container Registry. So in this case, I'm granting more permission than required. The reason being that we are going to use our lab machine and we are going to do a lot of ECR manipulations. So it's okay to give the full access. Let me copy this command again and go back to my command line and then type it. It will give you the command that you should type to login. So it's not going to log in, but it gives you the command that you should execute to login. So it says docker login and followed by the key. So you can copy this entire command and then type it again to login. So this is a one way to login. So there's a two-step, you get the command to login and then you type that command to login. So if you type enter, that full login command, docker login followed by the AWS key, you'll get a message saying that login succeeded. So which means that you have successfully logged into Amazon ECR. So this is one way to log in. But instead of executing two-step, you can do it in one shot. And I'm going to show you how to do that one using PowerShell. So I started PowerShell as an administrator. I'm going to copy this special command called invoke expression. So inside that invoke expression, of course, I'm going to get that login command. So instead of executing two steps, I'm going to do this login in one shot like this. So here also the login succeeded. So regardless of how you log in, ultimately, if you get this message saying login succeeded, which means that you have successfully logged in into AWS or Amazon ECR. So let's clear this screen. So I'm already logging into Amazon ECR. If you type Docker images, you can find this image that I created in my previous lab called my batch app latest image. You cannot publish this image because it doesn't know where to publish this. To tell where to publish this, you give the full URL of the repository using docker tag. I have copied the docker tag command and I'm going to tag my batch app latest image with the full URL of the repository. So if you type Docker images, you can find that there's an alias being created that points into the same image ID as my batch app latest image. So now I have this fully qualified image name. I can then use Docker push command to publish it. So you can copy this command from here that says Docker push followed by the full qualified URL. So if you type this command, Docker push followed by the full qualified URL name, let's paste it and then press enter. You will find that it will publish the image to Amazon ECR. So press enter, you can find that it's publishing different layers that it didn't find on Amazon ECR. So only delta changes are published. So if it identifies that certain layers already exist, it's not going to publish them. So right now we publish the latest image. If you go to the repositories and then go into my batch app repository where we publish the image, and you can find that it has published a new image with the tag latest. So you don't need to give the latest tag, you can give your own version if you like. So for example, instead of saying latest, I can give different tag name like version 5.1.0. So of course I don't have that version in my local machine. So let's tag my existing batch app latest image with the version 5.1.0. So this way you can use to like version different image names. So this may happen as part of your automatic build system. So if you type Docker images, now you have an image with the version 5.1.0. So like before, you can now type Docker push followed by the full URL of the repository and the image tag. Because the layers already exist, it's not going to publish them, although the version is different, the content is same. And if you refresh it, you can find that version 5.1.0 and the latest point into the same layers, and it is being published. So this is how you publish an image and into Amazon ECR.